Hello and fuck Cape Shit. Welcome to another episode of Shittywebcomics Weekly, brought to you by our Subscribe Star backers. Check out our Subscribe Star for all the secret lore and the information that they don't want you to know. If you want to know the truth, uh, donate to our Subscribe Star. If you don't want to know the truth, don't donate to our Subscribe Star, but it does support us. Um, we're going back to Sinfest again because Sinfest lately, like everyone's been noticing that over the
Yeah,
past
fucking
couple of
Stickfest
years.
got fucking retweeted by motherfucking Stone Toss.
Yeah, Stone
Stone
Toss.
Toss
Yeah,
noticed.
and we'll get into that too. Um, but in fact, the stuff I'm gonna cover actually goes back to last month, and so we'll be covering a small handful. But people are talking about Stone Toss going red pilled, possibly J woke or something like that. Certainly T woke, I guess. But um, here's the latest comic is, and now the president of the United States, and it's just like a gecko with fangs. I didn't know geckos had fangs, but um,
I don't think they do.
he says, "Ahem, burn the mammals," and people are chanting. The other lizards are chanting "burn the mammals," and then the president says, "Not all mammals, just the extreme ones." And then Tatsuya Ishida, and above his name it says, "Corn Pop was a bad dude." Get it because Biden, which is fucking. It's like it's this very Sinfest version of the political satire. It's just now, anti-Biden. Um,
We've got fucking yeah, we're gonna put the labels all over everything. He's starting to become more like fucking Ben Garrison.
yeah, well, I wish, inshallah, but I don't
I
know about
I
that.
wish.
As it is, though, that was from like September 8th, and then on 9/11, Tatsuya pulls out his new take on Biden. Instead of being a lizard or a gecko with fangs or whatever, it's Biden, but he's Two-Face. You remember Batman? Hey, do you like Batman Forever?
He was a
But
giant fucking radical departure from the tack he was taking just a few moments ago. Now he's a comic book villain.
yeah, it's like
He's not a
it just
lizard person anymore. He's
not
a
really consistent. And it is the cartoon version of Two-Face also
Yeah, the
from the
animated
old.
series version,
Yeah.
since nobody gives a fuck about the actual comics.
And of course nobody cares about those stupid Christopher Nolan movies. What Christopher Nolan? That's not fucking classic vintage for 90s 90s kids aren't going to remember The Dark Knight or The Dark Knight Rises. But
I don't care.
so it's fucking. I think one of the sex bots or something is wheeling out crazy old Sleepy Joe in a wheelchair, and then they inject him with the evil glowing juice, and they fucking get him up, and he sniffs the nurse, and then he wakes up and he's crazy, and then he walks out and then he's at a podium with like other crazy people, like Hillary Joker, and then fucking I don't know. Is one of these Doctor Strange? I don't fucking know. One's Poison Ivy, I know. One's
I
the
don't.
Mad Hatter.
I don't know or care.
Yeah, but it's still that as much as you can say it's like, oh, he's going super red pilled, he's our guy now or something, and it's like
Hmm.
half of the Biden suit is the toothpaste flag. Um, which is again, it's like, okay, what does that represent? And it's like, well, it represents how, he has the politics, the leftist politics, right? And it's like, it doesn't really make sense. It doesn't. It's just random things mashed together that don't make sense. Um, and it. I mean, in a broad, really really broad sense, it does fit together. But it's like Joe's supposed to be like borderline crazy evil, and the other half is like Sleepy Joe. And it's like, so what exactly are you saying about Joe Biden? What's the comic saying? And I don't think
I mean, the fucking
Tatsuya
purpose
shows
of
he doesn't really
Two
know.
Face in general was that he was like a Doctor Jekyll and Mister Hyde character.
Yeah, which it
Fucking
doesn't.
character was made by somebody who was like really love that fucking story concept.
It doesn't really fit with Biden. It doesn't even fit the meme of
No, if
Biden.
he's supposed to be half good guy,
So it's Tetsuya kind of still missing the mark when he's fucking going after
it's
Biden.
very forced.
Yeah, it's like George Alexopoulos. As much as he's a party of one that is filled entirely with pity. Um, he did some at least more self-aware political cartoons than this about Biden and just about political cartoons in general too. Um, but here was an example though of something that's actually like at least funnier and I think more aware and awokened, I guess, about the situation, the political, like
The
as far
true
as knowing
title of
what it's saying about
ill,
the political
uh,
situation, or
considering
what it
the
has to say
controversy.
about a political view, is that some guy's holding a ball of fun, toothpaste flag, runs up, holds it, and then gets really angry and just smashes it on the ground. Uh, and while the other guy watches, it's like kind of a redraw of the "I made this" the meme.
Yeah, that old comic. I don't even know who made that comic, but yeah, it's the I made this, and then somebody comes along and is like, "You have to give that to me now,"
And
and then
yeah, there's a lot of edits of that. There's like where they say I made this, and then they say I made this, and then they burn it, and it's like this is your fault and that kind of shit. So again, that one evolved. This one, similar, but also,
this
accurate, I
one, yeah,
guess.
this one's more weak and lukewarm and off the mark.
Well, not this one necessarily, because it's the toothpaste flag smashing the fun, and they also say maybe get your shit together first, and it's like that's at least a more of an accurate point than the Sinfest comics. The Sinfest
Right, yeah.
comics don't seem to have a point, but yeah,
What I was talking
this
about was the Sinfest
yeah
comic.
the Sinfest comics are lukewarm, and they're just kind of
They're the
they're
most
kind of
tepid,
muddled. They're
old
they're Joe
take.
Biden-y in their own way.
Yeah, he is basically like Joe Biden. He hates what Joe Biden represents, which is a mirror.
Which is, yeah, that's the thing. Tatsuya basically used to be Joe Biden, in favor of Joe Biden, supporting Joe Biden. You can probably go back to the Obama era and find comics that are positive about Joe Biden from that
A
era.
lot of those old comics are just unreadable, no matter which way you slice it.
Yeah, they're dumb. Then that's the thing is that Tetsuya's current comics are still dumb. It's just that they're dumb in an our way guy, I guess. Which I mean, again, they don't have much to say. They're just like, "Hey, Biden, he's crazy, right?" It's like, "Yeah, okay, I knew that.
Biden is a bad person.
He's a PP
Yeah,
doo
I get
doo.
it.
He is a bad president." And it's like, "Yeah, okay, I know that. So what else?" Um, and this one by Alex Says 10. This one at least is, it's saying what, it's getting to the point. It's saying what it's about right there. It communicates the idea pretty clearly, and that does in a way lead to. If this video had gone on longer, I would just be like, tune in next time for what this guy. But instead, I noticed around the time, here's September 27th. So again, this is from September. It's a Stone Toss comic, and somebody saying unhealthy, but it's plant based, and then they're holding up a box of Marlboro, and it made me kind of laugh for a reason that I'll get to into in a minute. But here then is September 25th. The Sinfest comic, and in a way, this also shows just how kind of muddled and confused the whole point of these Sinfest comics are. This is one of the Sunday ones, and again, he's finally saving them in JPEG, which he didn't do that. He was still saving the Sunday colored strips as GIFs up until we did Shitty Webcomics Weekly.
Oddly coincidentally, we started
It's a hell of a
mentioning.
coincidence because he was doing that for 20 years, where the Sunday strips were GIF files, and we do one episode pointing out that is like, why is he still making these as GIFs? You can see how grainy they are. They should just be JPEGs or PNGs at least, JPEGs ideally. And ever since we did that video, you can go back and look at it. You can line up the timeline perfectly of when we first pointed that out and when he started doing the Sunday strips as JPEGs instead of GIFs. But that's kind of irrelevant to the point, anyways. This one starts with some, I guess, troons walking under an arch that says freedom, and they're carrying the toothpaste flag, and they look over and see someone carrying a Southern Cross flag, and some kind of red flag, and some kind of Iron Cross and eagle shield. And the troons, or whatever they are, hold up their smartphones to take pictures. And then and the last panel is them standing in front of MAGA shop, because get it? Because MAGA shop. And then one is doing the Romans, two are doing the Roman salute. One is pointing his finger up, which I don't know if that means inshallah, or if it's just like he needed someone else to do something with his other hand. And then the OK sign. And then the other signs are like Gab and Odyssey, sort of storefront signs in the background. And it's like, okay, so what does this represent? What is this saying about this? Is that trannies take screenshots of right-wing people or something like that? I really don't know what Tatsuya is, if he's supposed to be saying anything more than that, or if he's just not saying anything. If it's just like, check it out, here is something, these people are doing this. And it's like, okay. And I do also suspect that you're supposed to read every strip, and it's like, overall, if when you keep up with it, it's like, I'm not keeping up with it. I get that Tetsuya's red-pilled Tetsuya now, but I don't care. His comics still aren't very good. But Stone Toss clearly realized, September 30th here, Stone Toss saying, very interesting observing Tetsuya Ishida navigate his red pill phase. Now, Tetsuya has had me blocked, of course, for the past year or two.
Once again, very clear indication of thin skin and an inability to defend your own viewpoints is when you fucking block somebody.
I had never tagged him. Twitter. I never tagged him, and I think I mentioned that one of our episodes was about Sinfest. And most likely Tetsuya saw that and blocked me, because he's like, oh no, because I know he does remember Shitty Webcomics because he's done stuff, or the forums and all that shit.
In constant fear of us.
Yeah, the back in the old days of the original blog, there was Sinfest sort of had a giant implosion among its own fans, somewhat involving the fact that our blog existed and reviewed Sinfest. So I know that Tatsuya does remember us for that, and so we're sort of like hand banana to his
Carl.
A lot
of these people right now, we're haunting their dreams, but a lot of these people right now think that we're gone. They don't realize that we're back yet.
Yeah, some people, from the back then days, they, or some people who were following us are like, whatever happened to Shitty Webcomics? It's like, I'm right here,
We're still here. We've been here.
Yeah, we've been here.
Where?
Check it out. Yeah, they didn't notice, or they didn't remember that. Because again, a lot of them followed us in a very weird, vague, nebulous way, where they didn't have a Tumblr account or anything like that. They would just bookmark our blog and check us out. Sometimes constantly, sometimes occasionally.
Well, that's also the thing is, we figured, they might kick us. We'll just fucking make another account. But what happened is they also fucking permanently shadow banned us.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. But anyways, so Stone Toss saying, very interesting observing Tetsuya navigate his red pill phase. And I replied saying, I started suspecting that you were letting him handle the spicier political stuff lately, such as, for instance, Tetsuya's he's actually doing comics about trans people, Piercians, or whatever the fuck. And, the right wing, the left wing, Biden, all that kind of thing. Whereas you look at Stone Toss and it's like, here's a comic about Marlboro, the sort of unhealthy, but it's plant-based. So it's sort of like making fun of, this one, here's an old one.
It's semi-political, but it's making fun of like vegans and stuff.
Here's the Leonardo. This one also. This one's just. It's not as exactly as pointed. I still think Stone Toss is, of course, better at political cartoons and at getting the point across than Tatsuya probably ever could be. Yeah, here's this recent one from Stone Toss. Love is love, and gay person with the rainbow flag, and then they stop as they come across Leonardo DiCaprio carrying a flag that says 25 and under, and they're pissed off, and it's like, that one's good, but it's also like you could say it's a little softer than the other Stone Toss comics of back then.
It's not blowing people's heads off.
It's not the kind of things that are going to get people saying he's a Nazi, as opposed to, again, Tatsuya. But it's that Tatsuya is clearly he's a TERF. He's a trans exclusionary radical feminist, and that's his motivation for any of
This
these
is also
comics.
one thing, a little bit of a tangent here, but I remember fucking like just hearing turf, turf, turf. Any guy who was talking about like feminism attacking men and not helping men, you'd immediately be called a turf, and it's like, oh,
But I'm not a
what is turf
feminist.
or trans exclusionary radical feminist, and it's like, how the fuck am I fucking feminist if I'm attacking feminists?
If I'm attacking women, if I'm directly attacking women at knife
Telling men
point.
that they don't have to fucking become women in order to become real people.
Yeah.
If I'm not, if I'm saying no, men shouldn't have to wear makeup,
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
it's not even male positivity to say it's okay for boys to wear makeup and play with dolls. It's like that's actually male negativity. That's worse. That was another thing. As we were talking about, we've been talking about a lot about the right wing has already been pretty much entirely, completely subverted. I mean, Stone Toss is an example, as an exception. I don't consider him an example. But for the most part, the right wing, what most people consider right wing or conservative or Republican or anti SJW, is basically completely controverted and subverted by people who, in reality, are possibly more SJW than the actual SJW. They're more leftist than and a lot of them really are leftists who very clearly were leftists who now go around, like they have, in some cases, have told me that they're leftist. Like Nick Rekieta was telling me about how much he loved going to Broadway and seeing Hamilton and all this shit, and how good Hamilton was, and so on and so forth. And then all of a sudden, like half a year later, he's telling people he's Christian and that he's a conservative all of a sudden. And it's like, really, are you? Because it doesn't seem to line up with your principles or your behavior. Very suspicious. But again, what we've seen is that most people will ignore the behavior. They'll just listen to what people claim they are and ignore what people actually do. And so, because of that, the right wing has essentially been subverted. The anti SJW side has been, taken over and undone from within already. That's already happened. It's not a matter of doing anything to prevent it. But as far as that whole situation and that position for most of the people, that's just where things are now. But we continue to remain the exception to all of that. So if you want to hear, the truth that other people don't want to tell you, the things that they're afraid of losing subscribers for saying, check us out on Subscribestar, donate to us, give us money, become an official pay pig of shitty web comics, and check us out next time for the next Shitty Webcomics Weekly. And remember, should have listened to Shitty Webcomics.